As we enter the 2022-23 season, the NBA will be implementing more stringent protocols for bench conduct, specifically in regards to game disruption and/or game distraction. This first example shows the highlighted player, Rajon Rondo, who is not in the game, standing on the court during live play. The officials will assess an immediate technical foul for this violation this season. Players who are not in the game are not permitted to stand on the playing court at any time for any reason. Another aspect of the bench conduct guidelines involves bench players and/or assistant coaches attempting to overtly distract their opponents during live play. Here, we see both players and assistant coaches on the Miami team bench attempt to overtly distract the opposing player, Al Horford, who is attempting a three-point field goal. The officials will assess a technical foul if they observe any bench player or assistant coach attempt to overtly distract their opponent during live play. Another aspect of the bench conduct guidelines include bench players and/or assistant coaches standing in front of their bench for extended periods of time. Here, we will see several examples of teams committing this type of violation. Teams standing in this manner during live play violates the bench conduct guidelines and penalties will be assessed. The officials will first issue a warning for this type of prolonged standing. If the bench standing occurs again, a delay of game warning will be assessed. And if it occurs yet again, a second delay of game would be assessed, which would result in a technical foul. All additional occurrences will also incur additional delay of game penalties and corresponding technical fouls. Additional penalties may also be assessed by the league office post-game. In contrast to the previous examples, these next clips show teams spontaneously standing to celebrate play on the floor. These are legal reactions, and no penalties would be assessed on the examples shown here. Again, to be clear, bench players and assistant coaches may legally stand up to spontaneously celebrate a play on the floor, but they must then sit back down on the bench in a reasonable amount of time. The next point of education is respect for the game. The highlighted player, Monte Morris, throws the ball forcefully against the basket support following the made basket by his opponent. Players are not allowed to intentionally or forcefully throw or kick the ball against the basket support for any reason. Any violation of this rule will result in a technical foul. This next play shows another reaction that exceeds the respect for the game guidelines. Here, the highlighted player, Trae Young, reacts to the foul call by walking toward the official and clapping repeatedly and overtly toward that official. As we know, players are allowed to react to calls with which they disagree, provided that reaction is not overtly demonstrative, disrespectful, or prolonged. That is not the case here, however, and a technical foul was correctly assessed. This next play shows another reaction that exceeds the respect for the game guidelines. Here, the highlighted player, Spencer Dinwiddie, reacts to the lack of a foul call by walking toward the official and slapping his own arm repeatedly and overtly toward that official. This reaction exceeds the respect for the game guidelines, and a technical foul was correctly assessed. This next play will show a reaction that does not exceed the respect for the game guidelines. Following the defensive foul call, the highlighted player, Jose Alvarado, reacts to the call with a quick jump, but his reaction is not overt and it dissolves almost immediately. As we know, players are allowed to react to calls with which they disagree, provided the reaction is not disrespectful or prolonged. Alvarado's reaction here is a legal heat-of-the-moment reaction, and no technical foul was needed nor given. We will conclude the video with a series of examples that show positive interactions between players and officials. The players and the officials that can be seen here communicate in a calm and professional manner, and they maintain their composure throughout the interaction. As we start the 2022-23 season, it is our continuing goal for both our players and our officials to exhibit this type of mutual respect on a nightly basis.